Hello everyone, welcome back to Flying Pig United. Today it's me again, Maisie. We'll be doing a preview for the Atletico Madrid game. Today I have got Mane and I have got Dan. Mane, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to be back. Good to see your faces again, and good to be back talking about Champions League football. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. Great to see you again. And Champions League football is always my favourite to talk about. Dan, lovely to meet you as well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Looking forward to it. First time. So, yeah, just looking forward to it. And like Manny says, Champions League is back. It's the only thing we've got any positivity about this season so far.
Well, we've got to remain optimistic in terms of the Champions League, considering it is our only hope of winning a trophy. Fingers crossed, though. We'll have to see on how we get on. Old Trafford, though, always amazing vibes. But before we do go on about Champions League football, I'll go with you, Manny, of how you thought the game went on Saturday against Spurs.
Listen, yeah, just Ronaldo doing his magic again, and an acceptable game from a performance standpoint, and barely acceptable because I conceding goals is that many goals is I'd rather win convincingly. Yes, it was a good win to have. But performance-wise, I know we could do better. Just the consistency defensively. Ronaldo, of course, saving us once again. Although the passing was good, Sancho with that through ball, it was pure magic. But we just got to be more consistent defensively again. We'll talk about Maguire later. And yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good win to have. Especially versus a team that's also competing for top four. And like I said, we shouldn't solely be relying on Ronaldo to bail us out of these types of situations. We should be winning more convincingly. We should be, whenever we take a lead in the game, we should be holding on to it, and we should be thinking of holding on to it and solidifying our defense at that point. But overall, I'm happy with the win. We move forward. What really matters right now is this Champions League game. I would much rather a win versus Atletico than a win versus Tottenham, to be honest. But yeah, it's still good to have those 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. Them 3 points were absolutely needed. Brilliant from Cristiano Ronaldo with that hat trick, and I just feel like there was some places for me where we definitely could have done better defensively. Just don't think that number 10 role really suited Paul Pogba neither. So I'd even argue that Bruno Fernandes was missed, despite, of course, we've got the 3 points. But could we have done better knowing we had that more creative player on there? But for you, Dan, how did you think the game was? Do you think this is going to be that one step closer now to top 4? Do you think this could be the game what keeps us in that top 4 race?
I hope it is. I think, again, obviously Manny's already mentioned about Ronaldo. I think Sancho needs some praise at the moment. He seems to be slowly getting that form that he had with Dortmund, and he's consistently delivering, or he certainly has been the last 5 games or so. Even in the losses, City, he was the only highlight in that entire game. His goal, the way he took it. I think Fred had a particularly good game on Saturday, which I think surprises a lot of people when he turns up. There's no mistakes. Defensively, there's still a lot of questions for me, not just Maguire, but in terms of the entire defence. I've not been happy with it since the start of the season, but I hope it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully it gives us some momentum. We can take that into tomorrow night's game, and continue that into the next league match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. And the defense, we haven't been able to kind of, how I say, master that. We have got, of course, Rafael Varane. I know he's been in and out of the squad constantly, but we still should be doing better defensively than what we are doing, conceding all them goals that we have conceded against the likes of Man City. We've conceded 6 goals just against Man City alone this season. We conceded 5 against Liverpool, and we don't know how many we're going to concede in this postponed game coming up. We have got conceded 4 against Watford. And you do look at them kind of things and you think this is where we should be doing a whole lot better. And we can't be solely thinking Rafael Varane is the answer to it all, because he really isn't. And I think, is it because of the lack of investment from Manchester United that we need this? We need a new right back. We needed another centre back. Or is it just for you, Dan, that other teams around us have just evolved into this next step forward compared to last season?
I think it's a mixture of the both. Obviously, we all know how fast-paced the Premier League is. Again, I don't want to come on with an agenda against Maguire, but he just simply does not have that pace. And if he gets caught too far up the field, they're in behind. And I think that's causing a massive problem. When you look at the other defenders that we have, I mean, Lindelof is not the quickest, but he is quicker. Varane has been inconsistent. Not his fault. It's been injuries. And I think, or I'd like to think, we'll see better of him for the remainder of this season if he can stay injury-free. For me, those two, Lindelof and Varane, should be the centre pairing. But yeah, I think once you put Maguire in there with his lack of pace, I don't even think it's anything necessarily that's evolved. It is literally 1 or 2 passes, you put it behind him, and their attacker or their winger, if he's caught out of position, is around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. And we've got obviously Phil Jones who's fit. We've got Eric Bailly now who's fit, and we haven't actually seen an appearance yet of Eric Bailly under Ralph. I know he got injured during AFCON, but we haven't seen anything of him at all. And we didn't see him under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We didn't see him under Ralph so far. So I'm questioning, is there something there with Eric Bailly of why these managers aren't wanting to use them, and they're still wanting to use the likes of Maguire. They're still wanting to use Lindelof. I've got no issues with Lindelof, of course, but you'd rather have at least one pacey defender instead of 2 slower kinds of defenders. But we've got a super chat here from Zen. Thank you so much for the £3.49 super chat. Means so well. Thank you very much. And I'll go with you, Manny, of how you thought Ronaldo was in terms of this game, because Ronaldo has now broke the record. He scored the most goals in career football with 806. No other goal scorer has done that. And as well, he becomes the second oldest Premier League player to get a hat-trick. Only Teddy Sheringham was older than him, and it was only by so many days old. I think he was roughly around 216 days old in 37 years. Ronaldo's 37 years, around 68 days. So what did you think about that performance and 2 records being broken?
I mean, can we sit here and say that and act surprised like he wasn't going to do it? I feel like, we knew this was gonna happen. We know how much of an illustrious player Ronaldo is. We won't see talent like that for many years, many generations to come. He is one of a kind player. So, yes, I mean, you could argue that most of his goals came in La Liga. La Liga is not wasn't at the time when he started, wasn't a very competitive league per se. It was all mostly Barcelona, Real, and the likes of Atletico later on. So, but at the same time, you can't really count. I mean, that would be the only devil's advocate argument I could give. But he scored many important goals in his career. He's scored different types of goals, overhead kicks, from all facets of the game. And he's just a complete player overall. And we can't sit here and act surprised like he wasn't going to break these records or get to the point where he is right now. And yeah, congrats for him and his pedigree. I still think he has I wouldn't say like many years ahead, but he still has a few, maybe. I'm not going to put a number because I don't want to jinx it. He still has a few years ahead of him. And just Tom Brady being at the game after the Spurs game, maybe he gave him some incentive for Ronaldo to play till he's 44. But we'll see how that goes. Tom Brady coming out of retirement too. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. Is it a coincidence or is it like we don't know. So props to Ronaldo. What a player on both international and club levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And knowing that Tom Brady has met Ronaldo, it does. I actually do think as well. Maybe Ronaldo had that little bit of talk with him, and it did encourage Tom Brady to stay on that a little bit longer because he actually come out of retirement. But when you have the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, it's truly inspiring, isn't it, to have that bit of a conversation with him as well. So I do wonder what was that conversation. Only them two will know, but I'd absolutely love to know what that would be. Mr. E Pro here, I said defense of Telles, Varane, Bayer, and Dalot. With me, I think as much as I would have Eric Bayer in the team as well as Varane, both of them are so injury prone. So at least one of them is going to pick up an injury 3 games. You've never seen Eric Bailly play more than 3 games in a row, and that's due to injuries. And we need a centre-back partnership what's going to be very consistent, and that's why I always saw with Lindelof and Varane, because Lindelof hasn't actually been out due to injuries. It's more due to personal issues. But for you, Dan, would you agree with that back 4 line, what Mr. E-Pro had?
More or less. So I've already jotted down here what I felt would be the back 4. And yeah, Telles, Varane and Dalot, definitely. I've gone for Lindelof myself. I just think, not even from an injury perspective, like Bailly is, I think there's a little bit more consistency from Lindelof. He's got mistakes in him, but so has Bailly. And I think Bailly's are more costly. So I wouldn't mess around with the defense too much. I think with the importance of the game, away goals don't count either this year, which I think is important to be mindful of, because they're just going to have to come out and try and win the game as best they can, as well as us. It's essentially that first leg, although it's still there, it's not as important, like the away goal that we got. It's not as important as it would have been in past years. So I think as solid a defence as possible. And I think for me, Bailly just has too much inconsistency, too many mistakes in him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can be quite sloppy, but I do like Eric Bailly. His tackles, his one-on-ones are brilliant. He's very quick, but it just puts me off more for how he is in terms of defensively. But let's go on anyway in terms of Manchester United, because we are obviously playing Atletico tomorrow. And when the last Atletico Madrid game, Alanga came off the bench. He scored in the Champions League game against Atletico Madrid. We've seen a different options there for the left-hand side in terms of Manchester United so far under Ralph. Sancho's played on the left. Rashford's played on the left. Sancho, Rashford, we've seen Pogba on the left, we've seen Alanga on the left. So we've seen quite a few different people there on the left-hand side. And for you, what I'll stay with, Dan, who would you put on that left-hand side? Would you start Alanga in this game, or would you look at putting the likes of Paul Pogba there or Rashford?
Again, looking at the importance of the game, personally, I think I'd go with Pogba. I know he hasn't played he's never played to the standard that we'd hoped for, but recently he seemed to have a bit of a period where for 3 or 4 games he seemed like he was back to how he was at the start of the season. And then again, these last couple of games, again, he's been largely anonymous. I think there's an argument to say, yeah, we can have him maybe out there on the left. Possibly the last half hour, 35 minutes, put Alanga on, definitely. I think he's got the pace. he's got the confidence at the moment. He must be absolutely brimming with confidence. But yeah, again, for me, Pogba, just.
Mm-hmm. What would you do, Manny, as well in terms of that left-hand side? Because for me, I think that I would actually start Elanga and I would actually put Paul Pogba in the central midfield option. I would probably put him alongside Matic because Matic played absolutely brilliant. And I think sometimes in terms of Matic, especially in this Atletico Madrid game, the last time round, his starting 11 was missed without him. He's a proper defensive midfielder, and you need that kind of player when you have got the likes of Suarez, you've got Griezmann, you've got Felix there. You need to try and break down the play quite quickly, which Matic can do. He's brilliant with his long through balls, and he will allow freedom there for Paul Pogba, which he really does like that freedom. And I do feel like as well against Atletico, you need someone a little bit pacer on the wings. But what do you think? Would you be the same as Dan? Would you put him there on the left-hand side, or would you put someone else there?
Yeah, I would put him on the left-hand side and Pogba in the center mid position. But I wouldn't even play Rashford at all. Like I think Rashford, I don't think he's not on the right mindset to be on that pitch. I just think like his recent form, he hasn't been playing well. I don't know what he's going through, locker room wise, management wise. I don't want that on the pitch in an important game, and he hasn't been playing well. So, yeah, I like Elanga on the left. I mean, if you put Sancho, I can't complain. They've both been playing brilliantly. And again, I could say what I want to have on the team, but Rangnick always flip-flops it and puts the team I do not want out there, including Maguire, which we will get to later. But yeah, Matic has been facilitating the ball nicely. I mean, he hasn't been an optimal facilitator of the ball, but he's been decent for what we need in that midfield. A Pogba and Matic I would really like that. Elanga could start. Again, I wouldn't mind Sancho either. But again, I wouldn't even mind seeing Phil Jones playing center back because he's played in these big games. He's been solid. He's been solid in his game back. If they put around Phil Jones, I'd be happy with that too. It might sound like a crazy option, but Phil Jones has been at this stage, has played big Champions League games. He's been there. He's done that. And he could provide the morale boost that the back four needs to get through this pacey Atletico team up front. So those are kind of my little bits and pieces of how I want the lineup to be come tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking at this as well, Avenger, he has actually gone for his pivot, which was Matic and Fred again from that Spurs game. And wow, what can I say about Fred? It was, just as Dan has touched on earlier on, Fred, I think that was probably one of his best games that he actually has done this season. And what I've really liked about Fred under Ralph, he has really stepped up in his game. And I think at the start of the season, we have seen that he didn't go well alongside Matic, and we've seen that in the Southampton game. I was thinking, I never want to see this partnership ever again. Do not do that to me. But then when we seen it again against Spurs, it was completely different, and they worked so well because Matic gave Fred the freedom. We know Fred isn't a CDM. He's a box-to-box midfielder. And because he was allowed that freedom, he was allowed to go forward. He assisted one of the goals as well. So I believe it was one of the... I think it was the first goal that he assisted, if I'm correct. Yeah. So he assisted the goal as well. But for you, Manny, how have you thought Fred done under Ralph in general?
I think we've found the Fred that we signed for in the first place. It's just a matter of being consistent. Yes, whenever I see a player playing well these days for our club, I'm like, yeah, okay, but what could he do in the next game and the game after? And the game, is it going to be the same? Is he going to be consistent, or is he going to be like kind of a Pogba? You never know what you're going to get. But I was surprised with Fred. I mean, Fred has kind of been more consistent as of late, which is good to see. And that flick pass he gave to Pogba yesterday was 2 days ago was just amazing. Just to see that ability right there from Fred. We know he could do more given the space. And yes, like you said, Matic gives him that kind of power. That gave him that kind of power on Saturday to be more mobile in that area. And I believe Rashmano sent in a super chat for £20. Thank you, Rashmano. He says sorry he can't get in. Great job meeting the rest of the panel. Mr. Tay, the legend himself. Heart. Thank you, Rashmano. I appreciate that. But yeah, he keeps amazing me every day, Fred. And he's actually becoming and forming into the player that we actually signed him in the first place. So it's just good to see him.
Yeah, definitely. And just as Manny has said, thank you so much for that £20, that £20 super chat there, Rush. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much for that. And I seen Kay Slater in the chat before asking for my merchandise. Make some designs for me. I'll have a little bit of a think, and I might give you some 20% if you actually help me out. 20% commission. But Callum has got a point. I don't know why people are talking about Matic. Yes, he played well, but you clearly won't and can't play more than one game a week. Interesting, because we could always substitute him off if we did want that, and then we could convert Fred there into that CDM. However, when you do look at it now, the next game is actually going to be in April after Atletico Madrid game. And it's actually, if I'm correct, the next game, it is actually, we've got Everton coming up. And we have also got, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, we've got Everton and we have, I know we definitely got Everton coming up. So,
Leicester.
What did you say, sorry?
Leicester City.
Yes, Leicester, Everton, and then we have got Norwich. So we can afford to try him out at least, because he's got over a week's rest, knowing that he hasn't got Liverpool, and then it's early on in April when he'll be next playing a game. But for you, in terms of that comment for you, Dan, do you agree with that? Do you think he can't play more than one game a week?
On recent evidence, no, he can't. I just find him... My concern with playing him against Atletico is their press. And I think they will be all over us. Particularly, as I was saying before, like if you've got Maguire in the back line and you've got Matic, the lack of pace there will hurt us more than benefit us. So, yes, in an ideal world, it would free up Fred. He could be that more box-to-box player that he is naturally. He can go further up the pitch. But again, I would still have question marks over Matic. You are absolutely right, though. We could sub him off if it wasn't working and you change it. But then again, it comes back to the same old question. What do you change it to? Do you put McTominay on? And then you've got McFred again. And let's face it, that's not been the greatest partnership either. So I would be concerned if we started Matic. Again, I think if he had a cameo, if things are going well and he has a little cameo, maybe to just shore things up like he did in Madrid, then I think definitely there's an argument for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Niall here has got a £1 super chat. Thank you so much, Niall, for that £1 super chat. It does mean a lot there. Coming into it as well, we did see that last game, Lindelof, he played as a right back. A lot of people said it didn't work. We've seen him as a right back in the past last season, and for me, he is a centre back. We should be using him unless it's an emergency where we don't have no available right backs whatsoever. But we still had Dalot. We had Wan-Bissaka on the bench at that time. For you, Manet, do you think he's going to do the same again? Do you think Lindelof is going to be a right back, or do you think no, we're going to have to put a proper right back on here?
We're gonna be putting a proper right back. I think Lindelof is served to be more efficient. He's probably going to be playing Maguire Lindelof because Rangnick. Yeah, that's the way I. Oh no, he's probably going to be playing Varane and Maguire. Sorry, Lindelof is probably gonna. I don't know. That's a good question because like the way I'm thinking right now is Rangnick's definitely going to be putting Varane and Maguire. That's the way I see it. So where do you put Lindelof? That's a good question. I think he's going to be putting. Dalot has played in some Champions League games. I think he's going to be putting Dalot in the right back. He's had experience playing right back for years in the Champions League. But I wouldn't be opposed to having Lindelof on the right either. As long as he can cross the ball and make those set piece plays work, then yeah, put him on the right. I don't object, as long as, again, every game is different. Every game you never know what's going to work and what's not going to work. But I wouldn't be opposed to spicing it up and putting Lindelof on the right. So I'm kind of indifferent to that. Either way, I think it works, and it might work and it might not work.
Yeah, I do really like Lindelof. I think he's improved so much this season, but I think if we are going to play him, he needs to play in his natural position as a centre back. So that's either, of course, Varane being out, Maguire being out, or a right back's being out. And I think in this kind of game, I wouldn't start Wan-Bissaka, because we do need to go forward. We need to try and do the best we can. But who knows, that right back that as Lindelof, he could do quite a long crosses, what we love, where we have seen a few assists off Lindelof in the past. For you, Dan, when you seen, of course, Lindelof as a right back, what do you think happened? Do you think it worked, and would you do it again?
I don't think it did work. Certainly not in that opening 20 minutes. They were, again, all over us when we used him there. It was a real sort of surprise from Rangnick, because prior to that, it seemed like Dalot was just beginning to cement that spot. Wan-Bissaka wasn't getting a look in. For me, I think we would play better. We've tried the whole sort of 3-5-2 formation, 5-3-2, whichever way around. It just does not seem to work for us. Again, whether that's down to the personnel in the defence and the pace, the positional awareness. But I think, and equally, this goes for the left-hand side as well. For this match, I think Dalot and Telles should be the picks. Again, going back to my earlier point of the press that they're going to have, those two out of our left and right backs, I think offer more pace going forward, possibly push their full backs back down their side rather than them pushing on our side.
Mm-hmm. Berber here has got a £5 there donation on the super chat. Thank you so much, Berber. Brilliant debut from Dan. Yeah, Dan is absolutely smashing it. It's been great to have you on so far, Dan, and you've made such great points already. It's good to see that the chat is also recognising that too. Mr. V Pro has got a good question here, which I'll come back to you with this, Dan. If Maguire doesn't play, who would be the captain?
Great question. I think depends how do you pick the captain? Is it on current form? Is it on length of service? I think, or is it on seniority? On all of those, I think at the moment you're just pointing at Ronaldo. And I have been critical of Ronaldo. He shoved those words back down my throat on the weekend. Some people might think it's impossible to be critical of him, but I think Ronaldo, it would be Ronaldo or Bruno if he plays. I think on the facts that I know Ronaldo's had his time obviously with us and he's come back. I think the fact that Bruno's been there for the last few seasons, he would probably get the nod above Ronaldo if Maguire's not playing.
Mm-hmm. Everyone in the chat as well, if Maguire don't play, who would you put as the captaincy? Because for me, I think it will probably stay as Bruno Fernandes, because we've seen Bruno Fernandes, he is the vice captain back in training, so most likely he's going to be coming back through, especially knowing that he's assisted in every single Champions League game. We haven't seen too much of Ronaldo being the captain in his career neither, so I think, especially knowing that Bruno has got that captaincy experience, he's been the captain of Sporting, he's been the captain, of course, when Maguire's been out. I think Ralph will just do the safe option and he will go there for Bruno Fernandes. G Wolf as well there in the chat with another super chat. Thank you so much, G Wolf. Dan the man, the myth, the legend, absolutely bossing it. Yeah, absolutely correct there from that super chat. Thank you, G Wolf. Manny, who would you put as the captain?
Well, if Phil Jones takes the place of Maguire, I'm putting Phil Jones as captain.
Phil Jones.
I mean, if Maguire is out and they put in Phil Jones, I don't see why you don't put Phil Jones as captain. And then I would say between De Gea or Bruno, but they're probably going to give it to Bruno in that case because he'll be more active leader on the pitch at that point. So yeah, but I do stand by my Phil Jones thing because he's proven to be a valuable center back even after his return. So, and a better one than Maguire, that is. And Maguire has more time to improve, but Phil Jones is still better. So, I stand by my Phil Jones argument.
I think I might have to put a hashtag on Twitter later saying hashtag Phil Jones for captain, just for you, man. What'd you say?
Yeah. I would love that. Yeah.
Let's see what a few people are saying in terms of their captaincy as well. Niall said, I wouldn't give it to a keeper. I would give it to Bruno or Ronaldo. K Slater, it needs to be Ronaldo. We've got another one here going for Ronaldo. I predict Ronaldo will hat-trick against us. Will hat-trick against at the moment. Callum has said that he will put himself as captain. Let me know, Callum. I would like to know how you would be as a captain. Let me know in the chat how you would be as a captain. Avenger, Ronaldo captain, Sue. Yes. Vincent, he's gone for Bruno. Big God Bob has said Ronaldo 13 goals in 15 home clashes against Atletico. Yes, that is a good point there. What Big God Bob has mentioned. Ronaldo is actually Atletico's favourite kind of opposition to play against because this opposition is the second highest goals he scored against with a club. So how do you think that will benefit Ronaldo, especially knowing he's on a high for you, Manny, after this hat-trick?
I think it would be if you put your whole savings account on if he's gonna, I don't think it would be a good idea to put that on Ronaldo scoring another hat trick. It's possible, but 2 games in a row, it's kind of like hitting red 6 times in a row at the roulette table. Again, it all depends on many factors in the game, right? How Atletico's back four stacks up to Ronaldo's pace, and the officiating, because it was gash in that Atletico game in Madrid. So that I don't know. I don't like talking about officiating because at the end of the day you should just comment on pure skill. But that officiating in last game, it was just terrible. But if we keep the same formula we have and keep threading with those through balls and using Ronaldo's pace optimally, we could see brilliant things tomorrow. It's all going to depend how we facilitate the ball forward, how our midfield synergizes with Ronaldo's pace, and how we can get him in motion on through balls and through passes and all that stuff. So it's going to depend again on the synergy between that midfield and getting the ball forward to Ronaldo. And I like to see some consistency on that, because sometimes we're just completely shut down and we have no answers during the game and we create no answers as the game goes on. And we just need to find a solution to this Atletico back four. And it's not a big back four that people rant and rave about and talk about and hype up day in, night out. It's a back four that you can definitely exploit. And it's not intimidating at all. We're not talking about like the back four like of the likes of Liverpool and Man City. We're talking about Atletico Madrid. Not to underestimate them, but it's not a world-class back four that they have. So there's no excuse come tomorrow to get balls in and get high-quality chances.
I agree, and especially at home. And we always say, Old Trafford, the fans are always a 12th man for Manchester United. So we need to try and do our best. When you've got Jadon Sancho on such a high, getting them 2 assists, Fred who's assisting. If Dalot plays, he does pretty well in terms of his crossing. Tellez got an assist from a corner, so you're looking at things like that. There is no excuses. We've got set piece players, we have got corner players, we have got free kick players, and if Tellez plays, I think we'll have a much better advantage, in my personal opinion, because for me, I think he's actually the best at Manchester United for free kicks, set pieces, and corners by miles. I like Bruno Fernandes, and I even think Tellez is a much better for the job, and I put him over Bruno Fernandes. Put him over Ronaldo when it's only a couple yards out of the box as well, just because it just feels like his corners and set pieces and free kicks are definitely something what we need in this Manchester United team when we're lacking on that. But for you, Dan, looking at this Ronaldo stats against Atletico, looking as well that he scored the 3 goals, how do you think this will pan out for Ronaldo? Do you think he's going to be on a high? Are we going to see a goal from him?
I think, yeah, I think we will. He didn't have the best of games in the first leg. But I think, again, with not that he needs any more confidence, but just obviously with the performance that happened at the weekend, I think he's going to be bang up for it, firing on all cylinders. It's obviously a favourite opposition of his. Like you say as well, just with the way that some of the players seem to be coming to the boil in terms of their assists. I think Rangnick brought in a set piece coach, didn't he, when he first came in, and we're beginning to see. I mean, again, I know it's only 2. I can't remember what the first one was. I think Maguire scored against someone from the corner.
That was against Leeds.
Yes. And then obviously Ronaldo on the weekend again from a corner delivery, and again from Tellez, who seems to be more pinpoint. There seems to be a little bit more variety going on. It's not just a case of we're just pumping it into the box. We're trying different things. So I think it's all helping in that respect from the set pieces. But yeah, I think Ronaldo will get 1 at least.
Mm-hmm. And just as Callum has said here, we need to get the ball to Ronaldo and he will score. We know that Ronaldo can score. He can score from his head. He can score from his feet. I don't care how a ball goes in. It can touch someone's bum. It can touch the back of someone's shin. It can be off an head. I don't mind how it gets done. As long as that ball goes behind in the net, I am not bothered exactly how it's done. And we win that game. But Niall, another super chat here. Thank you so much now for the £5 super chat. Bossing it tonight, Maisie Manor and Dan. We 5 up. Thank you so much for that £5. It means so much. So, before we go on to our predictions, let's have a little bit of a guess on where we're going to finish in the Champions League. So, everyone in the chat, get involved. Put your numbers in. 1, we're going to get knocked out this round. 2, we're going to get through to the quarters. 3, we are the semi-finals. 4, we're in the final. Go on, guys. Go and put your predictions in there. I will start with you, Dan. Where we're going to finish in the Champions League. Please be optimistic.
We'll win it. I think we've got a very good chance of getting through. The fact that this second leg tomorrow is at Old Trafford, it is evenly poised. They are a great team. They're very well organised, but I think we will, again, the crowd, something about, it's a cliche, something about European nights at Old Trafford when we need it most. And I think tomorrow will be no different. As for how much further, there's still on paper some teams in there that I don't think we should fear.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Take out sort of Munich, City and Liverpool. I think we could, maybe Madrid as well. But after that, I wouldn't fear anybody else that's in there. So a kind draw in the quarters, get through there, you're in the semis, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Manny? What are you going for? Come on, let's hear some positivity.
Man.
Are we winning it?
Listen, I have one argument. As long as we start Maguire, we're not winning anything. Your back four is as solid as your weakest link, because all the teams are going to exploit that weak link. The only team that does not realize that our back four has that weak link of Maguire is ourselves, because we keep playing him every single game and keep starting every single game. I'm just sick and tired of giving this guy a second chance. You look at the likes of, historical center backs in our club: Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, Neville. These players are high, like, compared to Maguire. I mean, you can't even. They're on two different levels. Maguire is like, he shouldn't be in the conversation of a Manchester United center back. He shouldn't even be yet alone captain, because, like, we have to set a precedent on what players are high quality and belong at the club, what players deserve the captaincy, and what players should not even be on the team or on the bench and should be out of the club. And one of those players, I'm sorry, but it's Maguire. Sorry, Omondi, if you're listening to this. I know you're going to be mad about this, but I'm at the point where, like I said, your back four is just as weak as the weakest player in that back four, because all the teams are just going to exploit that avenue. And we've seen it time and time again, right? Just last game. Last game he played a good game until that own goal, but Maguire's going to have one good game out of 10 games. We need him to have 9 good games out of 10 games. And to answer your question, sorry, I digressed there for a second. To answer your question, after that, for like our best chance, I kind of probed that first game a bit, and I kind of saw how we played in that game. They didn't have Atletico didn't have all their players. I don't even think Griezmann was playing, right? He wasn't playing last game, was he?
No,
I don't
wasn't
think
playing.
It was Griezmann and Suarez who weren't playing.
They
right?
was both. Griezmann came on as a substitute. Suarez didn't play.
Well, I just honestly, I woke up this morning and I just told myself, because the away goal system isn't crucial, it doesn't exist anymore. Manchester United is going to play passive football. Atletico is going to play passive football, and we're going to see a 0-0 draw. It's going to go to penalties. And I mean, at that point, our luck in penalties, I'm going to say Atletico takes this one. Unfortunately, I have to be a realist in this sense. Before game one, I said that Manchester United has a good chance of getting through Atletico, given that first game. But because of that 1-1 draw, it didn't really help us. Didn't give us a good head start in this game. I say that our journey ends after tomorrow's game. Unfortunately, sorry, but I just had to be realist. If we start Maguire, that's what's going to happen.
Not good whatsoever. But people are agreeing with you there in terms of Harry Maguire. A lot of people are having mixtures. A couple of people said we'll get to the final. But a lot of people are saying that we will get through to the quarterfinals, and some people are agreeing with you, Manny, that we're gonna get knocked out.
I hope I'm wrong. Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I'm just looking based on the facts. But like I said, I hope I'm wrong.
Well, you're best off being a realist, but yeah, I guess you feel less disappointed though in the end, in the long run. But it still hurts. It still hurts, of course. But for me, I actually think that we'll probably get through to the next round, and it'll end there. I think we'll just get through to the quarters, and I can't see anything further from that point, to be honest, depending who we get. We know Manchester United's always a tough test. Knowing us, we'll get Bayern Munich, and it won't go very well whatsoever. We'll have Lewandowski there scoring 5 goals against us. So I can imagine that is exactly what's going to happen. We'll get another hard opposition. But I'm glad the likes of PSG is out, and we know that if we do get through, we won't have no chance of playing against them because I'm sick of playing PSG. Honestly, sick of playing against PSG. It is just awful. How many times do you need to play against them? But looking at Atletico, picking up a little bit of form. They did win 2-1 last time. Well, on Friday in La Liga. So they have actually not been too bad in their last 4 games. So at the moment, they're in the campaign for top 4, just like Manchester United. They've got a couple of players out as it stands. No one too major. It looks like that Griezmann, Suarez are looking like that they are injured. They don't look like they're going to be subbed on as a substitute. So by the looks of it, it looks like Suarez starting at Old Trafford, and this is where I feel like we needed to put them more goals away in the first leg, just as Manny has said, because that could potentially shut us a little bit later on. But for our team news in itself, we've got Bruno Fernandes, Shaw, and McTominay coming back into training. Bruno did miss the Tottenham game. That was due to coronavirus, and of course, Luke Shaw was out due to the exact same reason. McTominay should be okay. He did have a calf problem, so potentially we may see him back into that starting 11 lineup. For you, Dan, does that seem like good news, having these players back?
Apart from McTominay, yeah.
No, I love from McTominay.
No, it's squad player at best. Again, we're making the most of what we've got, but yeah, I wouldn't start McTominay, definitely. Bruno, yeah, straight back into the team for me. And I think it's such a mixed bag that we've got at the moment. You can't even, we haven't got a consistent 11. Mm-hmm. It's like you can take one out and replace him with someone. And it just feels at the moment, for whatever reason, whether it's down to confidence, whether it's down to coaching, we're not getting the best out of the players that we have got. I think we're all fully accepting of the fact that, we ain't going to challenge for the title anytime soon with these players, but you just want to see some fight from them. A little bit of passion. I just don't see anyone out there giving that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely do need passion, 100%. And McTominay being the player to play the most games under Ralph as a midfielder, I think he probably will go straight back into that starting 11 lineup, because a lot of people do seem to like McTominay. We've seen it with Mourinho, we've seen it with Ole, seen it with Carrick, and we've seen it with Ralph. So, and we've seen obviously Sir Alex Ferguson liking Scott McTominay. But we'll do our predictions anyway for our predicted lineup. Everyone in the chat also get involved with your predicted lineup. I'll go first for a change, and I'm always going last in these lineup predictions, but I'm gonna go for that 4-2-3-1 formation, just because we're used to that. De Gea in goal, Dalot on the right, and I think it's gonna be Maguire, unfortunately, in the centre back position with Varane. I think Tellez will be coming back through as well, because I know Luke Shaw's been out, so I think he will put him on the bench. I think Scott McTominay will come back, and I think that will be alongside actually Nemanja Matic, and I think Fred will come on as a substitute. I think it's going to be Alanga start. I changed that. I think it's going to be Paul Pogba there on the left. I think it's going to be Bruno in the middle, and I think Sancho is going to be on the right. Then up front, Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he might use the same and put Alanga as a substitute. Vincent, Bruno is back now. He's in training, so he is testing negative for the coronavirus, so we could potentially see him back again. Mana, what are you going to go for your lineup prediction?
So what I want to see, or what I think he's going to put out?
What you think we'll see?
Okay. Okay, so I'll have the same background as we talked about. Dalot, Maguire, Varane, Tellez. I would say Fred. Fred and Fred. Somehow synergizing Fred, Bruno, and Pogba, Sancho, Alanga on the wings, and Ronaldo up front.
Very interesting lineup, and I hope that lineup does come the case because I absolutely would love to see Fred in that starting 11 lineup. And a lot of people say Fred can't really do Champions League games, so it'd be good to see if he can try and prove a couple of people wrong to show that he's a Champions League player as well as a Premier League player as well. He can do both. But for you, Dan, what was you gonna say?
Maguire can't do Champions League games either, but he still gets played. So
that is very true. That's correct. Dan, what are you gonna go for your lineup?
So again, this is what I think it will be, not what I want it to be. Telles, Maguire, Varane. I think he's going to go with Wan-Bissaka. Then with McFred, Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, Ronaldo up top.
Very good lineup there as well. It'll be interesting to see what he will pick out because he has done a couple of surprising ones at the moment. So we'll have to see. But let's see what people have said in the chat. Vincent's gone for a 3-0 for United. Avenger has gone that De Gea, Telles, Lindelof, Varane, Matic, Fred, Alanga, Pogba, Sancho, Ronaldo, Dalot. Niall has gone for a 2-0 for Manchester United, and he has gone for the same team. Daniel would like to see Edinson Cavani. Do you think we could see Edinson Cavani, Dan?
Sub. I don't think we'll see him starting.
Yeah, we haven't really seen him, have we? Edinson Cavani in the starting 11 lineup and working it out. He's been out for near enough a Premier League season, near enough 38 games since he's joined Manchester United. What do you think about that, Manny, looking at that stat?
I mean, I still think he's a good player, but I bring him in as a super sub, and I think he's going to be gone at the end of the season. That's my personal opinion with Cavani at this point. We've used him to the best we can, but we have to consider developing our young players to fit that role. Because Rashford, I don't know, he might leave, and we got to start bringing people from the academy to fill that position as well, or sign a striker in the transfer window this summer. Who knows? Cavani's been doing good. He's been doing well for us, but again, he could play fuller minutes for other clubs, just not our club right now, because we need to see more longevity in that position moving forward. We need to be scoring goals on a consistent basis. Cavani could bring you goals as a super sub, but he definitely, the way I see it, Cavani wants more minutes. He probably won't be getting that at Man United moving forward, but those are my thoughts.
Of course, unless we play a 2 at the top, where I can't see what will happen, to be honest. But we'll wrap it up here. And what we'll do when we shout out the socials, we'll also shout out our score predictions there as well. Just want to say thank you, Manny, for coming on. Thank you, Dan, as well, for coming on. Good to see you again, Manny. Dan, brilliant debut from you. You absolutely smashed it. Loved hearing your opinions about football and talking this beautiful game with you. I know Manchester United isn't so beautiful at the moment, but we all know football in itself is a beautiful sport. But thank you so much there, Dan, for making your debut. Manny, thank you so much for coming on. Pleasure again to have this conversation with you. Would you like to shout out your socials and your score prediction?
Yeah, so my score prediction, first and foremost, I mentioned it before. I think it's going to be anticlimactic 0-0 draw. It's going to go into penalties, and it's going to be one of those penalty shootouts where we score all the goals up until sudden death, and then we just like Villarreal, we just lose. So I think it's going to be one of those games. Hope I'm wrong. I hope we win convincingly. But yeah, those are just being a realist and seeing how things are. And yeah, my socials, you can find me on Instagram, Manny_BDE, or Manny Souvlaki on YouTube. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Like usual, it's been a pleasure. Dan, good to see your first time out here, and yeah, bossing it out. Thanks, Dan, for coming in too.
Oh, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, Manny. And Dan, been absolutely brilliant to speak to you. Would you like to shout out your score prediction, and also your socials?
Don't have any socials. I'm old school. But no, score prediction. I'm really torn. I think it's going to be an odd goal. I think it will go to extra time. 2-1 United, Ronaldo, Sancho.
Ooh, and you've put the goal scorers in. You've just made me happier there. 2-1 as well as the goal scorers. Brilliant prediction. Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Just as Avenger has said here, brilliant debut, Dan. Just as Gunshi said here as well, hi, Maisie Manor, good to see you. Great to see Dan making his debut on the panel, and he's predicted a 2-1 for United tomorrow. Avengers gone for a 2-1 for United as well. So a few people are agreeing with you there, Dan. G Wolf has gone for a 2-0 there as well. And just as G Wolf has said, excellent debut, Dan. Oh, as always, bro, you are the man. Yes, you are the man. You've absolutely smashed it today, Dan. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to go for a 1-0. And I think it's going to be with Manchester United, but it can go either way. Because I think if Atletico get an early goal, they're going to be defensive for the rest of the game. So I think we need to get an early goal because they'll crumble. So that's what I think. 1-0 for Manchester United. Fingers crossed it'll be early on and we get more goals. Fingers crossed. But that's what I'm hoping for. In terms of my socials, you can find me there on Devils United. That's my YouTube channel. I do content for Manchester United, both the men and the women's football, so you can check me out through there. All our YouTube socials are in the description below, so go and check us all out there as well. Thank you there, Gunshi, for the super chat. That last message was meant to be a super chat. Oh, thank you so much, though, for the super chat, Gunshi. Means so much. K Slater's going for a 1-0 for Sancho to score. You're going with my prediction there, K Slater. Absolutely love it. But yeah, we'll end it here for now. Thank you all so much for coming on. I'm sure we'll see Flying Pig live very, very soon. So keep an eye out on the channel. Hit that like button. I've seen that we've hit the 100 likes. So thank you everyone who's liked so far. And if you're new to Flying Pig United, also smash that subscribe button. We'll see you all very soon though. It's a goodbye.